It's great for Christy and I to be here today and to give us the opportunity to introduce our friend to our friends. It is great to have Hillary back in the state, and I've been given the responsibility of introducing her tonight. And I thought about a lot of things I could say about Hillary Clinton, much of which you may already know. How extraordinarily tough she is and how she can withstand a tough campaign, how smart she is and how she's prepared to govern. But as I drove in from the airport tonight, I started thinking about the time I was elected governor in 1998. I thought about the Vision Iowa projects that we drove by. I thought about the children's health insurance program that Hillary got started in the late 90s. And it occurred to me I should tell you the one thing about Hillary Clinton that you may not know. And that is, in 1998, when I was running for governor, as you may remember, I was a little bit behind. 23 points behind to be exact. And for those who are in this audience who remember that, it was pretty tough.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here with you and with my dear friends, Tom and Christy, Bill Sack, and I so appreciated Tom telling that story because his brother-in-law, Christy's brother, was a wonderful friend of mine. And I have to be honest with you. When Tom called and asked that I help him, I said to the folks who do the politics in the White House in those days, I said, well, you know, this wonderful woman whose brother was a good friend of mine, who's passed away, her husband's a state senator in Iowa, he's running for governor, and they haven't had a Democrat in decades, and she called and asked me if I'd do a fundraiser for her husband. And the response was, well, he doesn't have a chance. But if you want to do it, it's fine with us. I said, okay, that's good enough for me. It was as difficult as Tom has just described. He started calling people saying, there's this state senator running for governor in Iowa, and he doesn't have a chance. I said, okay, well, if you don't mind, would you come? And we didn't get too many yeses, as Tom rightly remembers. And we did shrink the room over and over again. But then I heard him speak. And I heard him talk about what he wanted to do for this state. And I was really impressed. Because I think it matters, the vision and the values that people who run for office have.
Thank you. Yeah.
I also appreciated the way he said, we've got to make investments today that will be good for us in the future. We have to be willing to really take some political risks to do that. So I heard him talk, and I went home, and I told my husband, I said, well, I don't know if he has a chance, but he's the kind of Democrat who should get elected in Iowa. And sure enough, I've been listening to our Republican friends who are running for the office. Yeah, it is a little daunting. They are quite evidence adverse. They don't like it when I say our economy does better when we have a Democrat in the White House. That's just a fact. Inconvenient, though it might be for our friends on the other side. You know, I hear them talk about how they want to get back to the good old days of trickle-down economics. Oh, you're not kidding. And cut taxes on the wealthy. Get out of the way of the billionaires billionaires and the corporations. We've done that. Heaven forbid. You know that old saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And I want you in the next weeks to talk to as many people as you can. Because I want them, with your help, to remember what President Obama inherited. The worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. When he came into office, we were losing 800,000 jobs a month. 9 million Americans ended up losing their jobs. 5 million homes were lost. $13 trillion in family wealth wiped out. I don't think President Obama gets the credit he deserves for making sure. So we recovered 13 million jobs. But we have work to do, my friends. We've got to get more good jobs created.
Yes, we do.
We've got to get incomes rising again.
I have a dream.
And I've laid out a plan to do that. I know what we have to do to build on the progress that we've made. And the first thing we have to do is not let the Republicans rip it away by winning the election. We have to be prepared to take them on and to confuse them by telling the truth to the American people about what would happen if that were to occur. So here's what I've been saying. Let's create more jobs by investing more in infrastructure, roads, bridges, tunnels, ports, airports, rail systems. Let's put more people to work building our country. And while we're at it, let's make sure we give tax benefits to companies that will invest in advanced manufacturing here in America.
Yeah.
Not export those jobs and businesses overseas. And one of the best ways we can create jobs is by combating climate change and moving to clean. What happens when the Republicans are asked about climate change. You know how they are. They say, well, I don't know, I'm not a scientist. That's easily curable if you went and talked and listened to a scientist. And I'm very proud of American leadership that negotiated that agreement in Paris. There are lots of jobs in clean renewable energy. Now, it does require taking on the fossil fuel industry and the Koch brothers and others like that.
Yeah. Tell
But
us.
it's time, it's past time.
It is time.
I'm so proud of what Tom Vilsack did when he was your governor, because he put Iowa on a path, a bipartisan path, so that you are now getting 1/3 of your electricity from renewables. Some goals. Let's have 500 million more solar panels deployed by the end of my first term, and enough clean energy to power every home in America by the end. Some nation is going to be the 21st century clean energy superpower. It's either going to be China, Germany, or us. I want it to be us. Between me and everybody else running on both sides. I'm the only person running who says, my goal and my pledge is to raise incomes, not raise middle-class taxes. I will not. But I sure will raise them on the wealthy and on corporations and billionaires so that minimum wage so people who are working full-time and guarantee equal work for the work that women do so that said that the Republicans agree with. It's really shocking. They don't agree with raising the minimum wage. They don't agree with equal pay enforcement for women. And if they have their way, we won't make progress on that, or climate change, or manufacturing, or anything else. So the stakes are so high for Iowa and America. And that's why we've got to just work really hard between now and February 1st. I'll tell you something else that's at stake. The Affordable Care Act. They are voting again to repeal it and to defund Planned Parenthood in Washington. Exactly. Now, President Obama will veto it if they pass it. Sitting in the Oval Office, it'll get signed. That's right. 19 million people who are now able to get health care will be deprived. The insurance companies will be able to charge you more if you have a pre-existing condition. Women will be charged more for health insurance like we were before. It really matters. Now, I want to defend the Affordable Care Act, and I want to improve it. I want to get out-of-pocket costs down. I want to get prescription drug costs down. And I want to make sure that we do more to help caregivers. People and families who are taking care of one another. That is an emotional, physical, and financial burden. And I've laid out plans about how we can help families, starting with doing more to try to find effective treatment, prevention, and maybe a cure for Alzheimer's. This is the 6th leading cause of death in America. And the other 9 of the top 10, there are drugs that you can take. There are even cures you can get, but not with Alzheimer's. Everywhere I go in Iowa, I'm asked about it, or as I shake hands with people, they talk to me about it. I was in Fairfield when I rolled off my Alzheimer's plan, and a young widow told me that her husband had early onset Alzheimer's, died in his 50s. I want us to really tackle this disease because too many people and too many families will be affected otherwise. And there are 2 other issues that I've heard about here in Iowa. Mental health and substance abuse. Yep. We need to finally get rid of the stigma that still hangs over mental health. And there is no reason for it. And we have to enforce the laws which basically say you gotta take care of mental health like you take care of any other health issue. And we have to do more on substance abuse because too many people are affected by it and too many are dying from it. And there are so many families that are being torn apart. So our healthcare system needs to do more to help prevent and treat both. And it will not only be the right thing to do, it will allow us to save money. It is so much more expensive to send somebody with mental health problems or addictions to jail than it is to give them a recovery, a treatment, and a support. To be a good partner with our teachers and educators. We do what will work to bring out the potential and achievement of every one of our children. And I want that to start with early childhood education. And I want to be sure we make college affordable for everyone. And we're going to bring down those heavy student debts that are weighing on families and young people. You also have to pay attention to what Republicans say about our rights.
Tell them.
Honestly, I don't think they really agree or support any of them. Civil rights, women's rights, gay rights, voter rights, worker rights. They're on the wrong side of every one of them. So I want to tell you where I stand. I will defend a woman's right to choose, and I will defend Planned Parenthood. Equality and work to end this. Voting rights and make it absolutely a priority to finally, whether it's through Supreme Court appointments or constitutional amendment, to get rid of Citizens United. Justice reform and take on the problems of systemic racism in our criminal I will defend workers' rights and union rights because that helped to build the American middle class and for comprehensive immigration reform with a path to citizenship. I will defend Social Security against privatization. I will do everything I can to reform and fix our VA system, but I will not let the Republicans privatize it and take away veterans' rights. To the gun lobby, and we will come. I'm so proud of what the President announced today.
Yes,
He is going to use executive authority to require more gun sellers to conduct background checks. For comprehensive background checks. I want to close the gun show loophole, the online loophole, what they call the Charleston loophole. I want to end the immunity from liability that was given to the gun makers and sellers, the only business in America. I want to prohibit anybody who's on the no-fly list from buying a gun in the United States. If you are too dangerous to fly, you are too dangerous to buy a gun. But you know, what the President will be doing in the next week is an executive order. The next president, on the very first day, could wipe it away.
That's Hillary.
No, I won't wipe it away. I will not only keep it going, I will do everything I can to try to convince the Congress, hopefully with a Democratic Senate, which will sensible gun safety measures.
Yes, common sense.
It is so clear that Americans have a choice that will really set the course of our country's future. I happen to think America already is great, but we can be greater. But we don't get greater by dividing, by insulting, by engaging in hateful, mean-spirited rhetoric. We need to be united and strong at home and in the world.
That's right.
I've laid out a plan as to what I would do on behalf of our efforts against terrorism. We have to take on the terrorists from the air, supporting Arabs and Kurds fighting to take back territory on the ground, but we cannot and should not send American ground troops to Iraq or Syria. That is not that we stop the flow of foreign money, of foreign fighters, and take them on the internet. That's where they recruit, that's where they post incendiary, violent videos, that's where they radicalize young people. And here at home, we need better cooperation between federal, state, and local law enforcement, intelligence agencies here in America, and friends abroad. And we will all defeat it together. So I will continue to stand up against those who will divide us instead of unite us against terrorism. I have to tell you, this is so important to me personally, because I know that we can together really forge a future worthy of our past. We're here in this Museum of History, of Iowa's history. I happen to have confidence and optimism about the years that lie ahead for our country. But we can't take anything for granted. It doesn't happen just because we wish it. It doesn't happen because it's inevitable. It happens because we, together, stand up and set a course for America to follow. That's what elections are really about. People who come to ask for your support in the caucus or in November in the election, they're telling you what they want to do. And it is up to all of us, but particularly Iowans, who are the first line of defense against those who would take us back, against those who would deny rights, against those who would rip up progress, against those who would set us against each other. That is a very solemn responsibility that the people of Iowa hold in your hands. Join my campaign. Be part of the vision and the values that I believe are in the best interests of our country and reflect the better angels of ourselves. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. We have faced really profound crises in our history. And it's not just been leaders, it's been people who have risen up and stood against slavery, kept our nation whole, stood up for the rights of people who had been left out originally, survived and triumphed in a great world war, not once but twice, won a Cold War. Our democracy kept moving forward toward a more perfect union, self-correcting, making changes. What an amazing history we share. But now we've got to do our part. And that's what I'm asking you to join me in doing. You know, we've just come out of our holiday season. We're in a new year when so much seems possible. Let's be sure that the promise of America remains possible for every single man, woman, and child.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Hillary.
How are you guys?
Good, good. I love you. You're amazing. You make sense.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, here's my daughter.
Hi. We're getting there for sure.
I met you back at Jefferson Jackson and then at Katy Perry. Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. I
Wasn't
have,
that great when Katy Perry came?
yeah, I have it as my profile.
2,000 pictures she took for the newspaper.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Did she get another picture of you?
Yeah. Hey, how are you? Good. Let's do this and then we'll do yours, okay?
Try.
We're so excited. It just transforms your life, doesn't it? And it also gives you a perspective about, you want to do everything for your grandchild.
Yeah.
And the world she grows up in to be better than it is.
I'll be right back out.
No, we're not. Come on up here, dear. Come on in.
Hold on. Excuse me.
There you go. Thank you.
Can I get a photo as well?
Sure. I love you. God bless you. Thank you very much. Hi, how are you?
Good. I love what you're doing at the campus sector college. Actually, my sisters and I.
Oh, come on up, sisters. Come on over here.
We have our next door neighbor. So
Okay.
we get a picture.
Yeah, can we do a sister picture?
Yeah.
Use yours, okay?
Okay.
Stop pressing. Here, let's try another one.
Try mine. Okay.
Let's try yours.
And I'm a diplomacy major, and it's inspiring.
Oh,
There we go. This one works. Excellent.
I hope you'll
you
think
so
about the
much.
foreign service.
Yes,
okay?
I'm considering it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Hillary. You guys did a
Thank
big
you.
help. I have MS.
I need
That
your
really
help.
helps. Son's back. Officer.
Excellent.
He's been 2 tours in Afghanistan.
You're going to take care of it.
Thank you. Wish you the best. God bless.
No.
Thank you very much. Your help.
Good luck.
Thanks. Bye. Good. I need you up
Keep a guy, look on the guy right to your right now. Just keep your eyes on him.
Okay. Thank you. I need your help to get there. Thank you.